Welcome to the Lunation Situation. We are going to talk about a very significant new moon, and that is because this is happening on the Spring Equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. So this means that the new moon is coinciding with what we call the Astrological New Year, because the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries, and that is where the zodiac cycle starts. So this is a whole new season. This is a whole new astrological year, and it starts with a new moon. So you can tell that that is so very meaningful. This lunation occurs at 0 degrees of Aries and 48 minutes. So right at the beginning of the Aries sign. And as I said, this is really special. This doesn't happen often. So what is a new moon about again? Well, it's always a fresh beginning, fresh energies, the start of something new. And that is only highlighted to the extreme because this is the new astrological year, because this is at 0 degrees of Aries, and because this is the start of spring in the Northern Hemisphere, and this is the start of fall if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. So this is a potent, energetic moment. New moons are also great for planting seeds. This is very literal because we're in the spring season. This is excellent for gardening, for getting your garden ready, for literally planting seeds in the ground, or figuratively, and that means, manifestation rituals, wishing, spring rituals, because it's the spring equinox as well. So this is just such a potent moment, so significant, of starting something brand new, of inviting those really fresh waves of new energy into your life. This is a moment to use really, really well. What do you want to gain in your life? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to start? What do you want to begin? What do you want to venture into? What do you want to follow? This is where you can set some goals and go right after it with this fiery Aries energy. Now, since this is a new moon, it means that the sun and the moon are together in the sky, and they are together in the sky in the sign of Aries, as I said. So at 0 degrees of Aries, though, this is really, really significant. That is the beginning of the zodiac cycle, the astrological cycle. And as I said, that's why it's the beginning of the astrological new year. This is the real new year. This is where fresh energies are beginning. Now, Aries is all about that. It's all about beginnings, action, leadership, enthusiasm, bravery, courage, to go after, to do, to be. It's about confidence. It's about energy. It's about vitality. Aries is the sign where you can say, I am, this is me, I, me, following your desires, your interests, your instinct. This is a self-focused kind of energy. This is where the energy is quick. Things are happening. Things are going, and you do not want to miss this boat. You do not want to miss this really heightened energy of beginning. So, and this is a very active energy. The Aries sign loves to do. It's very direct. It loves action, right? It loves activity. It's not afraid of adventure. It's not afraid of risk. It loves to take risks. It's not so calculating. That's why they say Aries is very instinctual. It's quick. You have an idea, you have a feeling, this overpowering passion, and then you just go for it. That's Aries. And because there is sort of a blissful, childish naivety about Aries, it just meets whatever needs to be met on the way. Challenges are met with enthusiasm as well. And it's just the whole activity and the desire to be and do gives you all that you need to really follow whatever interest you have. And this is really interesting because up until this lunation, I would say that the energies for the last 6 months have not felt great. Mars was in a retrograde. We had really tough eclipses. And this is actually the first lunation that Mars is in full power. And guess what? Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet Mars. So this is your ignition. This is the start. This is the beginning of a new chapter in your life. And this is your moment to set your intentions really well, because you have this like gas and fire behind you to get you going. Aries and Mars is also about acceleration. So things are moving fast, like that car, you know, just kickstarting into fast speed. You're going somewhere. So where are you going? Make sure you do what you want to accomplish what you want. Like you can tell, Aries is not afraid of a challenge. It actually might enjoy one. It likes to fight for something. It's a very daring energy that is very pioneering. So this is an energy that you might want to ask how you want to lead your life. Where can you take more leadership in your own life, or in what field or area do you need to assert yourself more and show your own leadership? Put yourself first, because that's Aries as well. Where is it that you need to fight for something, that you need to not be afraid of a battle? Because this is just, you know, that's just what happens on the action path. And really feel the fire and the passion and the drive that this new beginning is going to give us. And as I said, Aries is about the self. So this is about your individual path. This is about unapologetically being you, saying you, doing what you want to do, and really staying true to yourself. It's okay maybe to be a little bit more selfish, be more self-focused right around this time. Not forgetting the whole picture, but it's okay to put yourself first, you know? You need it in the action moment. And this is quite a momentum energy. This is really huge for starting, and will be hard not to feel this energy, right? And you really want to make use of it. Well, as you might have known from earlier videos, new moon moments are excellent for wishes. As Jan Spiller, astrologist, tells us, we get 10 new moon wishes. And if you use them according to the theme, so if you incorporate these Aries energies and these Mars-ruled topics into those 10 wishes, then the likeliness of them coming true is very high. So a new moon is always a beginning that definitely lasts 6 months until the full moon in Aries, 6 months later from this date. But because this is the astrological new year, it means actually that this moment is 12 months, at least 12 months storyline here. So again, this is a moment where the energy is going to last really, really long. So it's important to use it. This momentum needs to be used very well and wisely. So think about it. What do you want to champion in? What do you want to fight for and work towards? What do you want to advocate? What do you want to stand for? What do you want to be straightforward about, unapologetic about? You know, what is your fight? Where are you the warrior in your own life? Where are you not afraid to show that, you know, that sacred fire within yourself? So it's okay to be fearless and bold and self-confident. This is where we want to be courageous and feel the passion to the limit. But this is a very independent energy, right? Very direct. And you want to do it that way as well. I guess the more downsides of Aries could be impatience. So you could feel that a lot during this new moon because the Aries energy is so heightened. You could feel impulsive and proud and maybe a little too self-centered. Watch that. And you do not want to be too pushy or aggressive. And that might be a challenge because Aries is so driven that it can really easily come across as pushy and dominant and therefore kind of aggressive. But, you know, it's okay to be aggressive if your goal is right and if your heart is in the right place. So Aries rules the head and I guess blood. So head first is something you're going to do with this new moon. You're going to dive into something head first and just go after it. And this is the perfect time because, as I said, astrologically, the energies have been very slow and kind of a bit stagnant up until now. And I think more on an individual personal level, we have felt that. So from now on, really, the doors are opening. They are slamming open wide, right? And this is just a huge momentum. And there is indeed a lot going on with this chart as well. So let's look at that. So as you can see in the chart, there are a lot of energies in the sign of Aries. So we have the sun, the moon, we have Mercury, which is conjunct this lunation. We have Chiron and Jupiter, all in the sign of Aries. So we call this kind of a stellium. It's full. There is a lot of Aries energies. That means that this is, everything is in motion. A lot is moving. This is movement. This is go time. This is start. This is doing. So we're really going to feel all that very highly, extremely. Our mind is on point, is with us, is direct, is on it. So that's very in sync, all of that. I guess you could say that this lunation is also conjunct Neptune, and that is bringing a little bit of a difficulty. So Neptune can bring a little bit of a confusion, and when there is unclarity, I would say watch that for a little bit. I think if there's confusion with Neptune, then I think maybe you should take that into consideration. But the positive side of Neptune is don't lose track of your intuition. So if you combine your instinct, which is that sort of, they call it the animalistic instinct, right? So it's like a direct feeling of like, I need to do this, and you just do it. It's a form of intuition, though intuition goes a little bit more subtle and more I think, holistic. So if we bring those two together, the intuition together with the instinct, meaning that maybe you might have an instinctual desire and an idea and this just rush of passion or drive to do something, and then just for a minute tap into the intuition and be like, is this wise? Is this great for the bigger picture? Because Neptune in Pisces is that bigger picture that sometimes Aries just doesn't see, right? Aries doesn't see that. It's straightforward. Whereas the Piscean energy can look at everything. So if we combine that together, says Neptune here, then that would be very advantageous. So if you can, whenever you have an instinct here around this time, pair it with your intuition so that you know there's a more long-term, a more a wider potential to whatever you're doing. So that's important. And it's important because there's something else going on here with Neptune. The ruler of this lunation is Mars, because Mars rules Aries, right? And as I said, Mars has just fully left his retrograde period. The last post-shadow period where Mars was getting up to speed, back to his old full speed, that stopped. I mean, it became heightened in its energy on March 13th. So by this lunation, March 21st, it's a good week that Mars is in full power again. So Mars is what they call a new territory. So it hasn't been in this area of Gemini for the last 2 years. So Mars is at full speed. Mars is comfortable again. Mars has energy and vitality. And since Mars is about our body, our health, our drive, our motivation, it means that we have them too. We feel better. We're stronger in our bodies. We have had months of contemplative, reflective ideas on what to do, which direction to take, which action potentially to take. We had a lot of ideas, we had a lot of interests, and now Mars is like, I have been slowed down for so long. Bam, bam, bam. I'm ready to take action. So, but the problem here is there is one last problem to this. From March 14th on, which is basically when Mars has left the post-shadow period, meaning Mars is at full speed, right, is the day that it is squaring Neptune. So by this lunation, it is squaring Neptune for a whole week. And that means that, there are some risks to Mars's action taking. This means that Neptune is kind of bringing in sort of the negative aspects, which is, confusion, which is illusion, disillusion, fantasies, not knowing what's true, not knowing what's a lie, being deceived, easily deceived, irrational, unrealistic ideas, and maybe even unrealistic action taking, So there is actually a bit of a warning still. So yeah, Mars is at full speed, but maybe because it has been so slow for so many months since last autumn of 2022, that Mars is just so confused. Like, it was so slow, it was so debilitated, it was so tiring, and a lot was going on in the mental capacity, and a lot was going on within the body, in the sense that we didn't have a lot of energy, and you might have been prone to some extra fatigue and illness, like you can hear with me. You know, your body might have had really difficulty these last few months. And this square with Neptune is that last time that Mars is still having that, you know. Yeah, it's at full speed. Yeah, the retrograde is over, but this is the last thing. And this square with Neptune was like ongoing during the retrograde that Mars had. So this is a little bit related to the Mars retrograde as well. So you can see it's that last week of like, ooh, watch your steps. Just be really, really sure of what you're doing. Careful, because this can be accident prone energy. Mars square Neptune can also be like, you know, like food allergies or like food going wrong. So be careful of water, be careful of seafood and like fish. And you might have just issues around that. You can have issues around water, or as I said, more symbolically in the sense of confusion or lies or unclarity or just not knowing what to do. But the good news is, I would say that it's that last little bit during this new moon. So because during this new moon, it has been squaring Neptune for a week, and it's at 3-degree orb. So I would say still 2 degrees of a little bit of something to look for, you know? I mean, not look for, look out for. Don't look for it. But there is like, don't be too naive. And for the Aries energy, don't be too naive about what you're starting, and don't be all head first and like not look at the bigger picture. As I said, you need to know the bigger picture of what you're doing, and you need to tap into your intuition. Okay, that's the last thing that this new moon is telling you, that, yeah, I want you to do. I want you to take action. I want you to begin things, and it's the first time you have been able to do for a long time. You will be feeling better in your own skin, and you'll really be motivated, highly motivated around this lunation. But think of the bigger picture. Don't only think of you, which is very Aries. So this is just a reminder, bigger picture, get your intuition with you, and just make sure that whatever you're taking action on is more than a superficial thing, and that it benefits more than just you. So of course this lunation is really, 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 really important, not because of all that I just mentioned, which is really, really important, but it's also in 2 days from this new moon, Pluto is going to ingress, as they say astrologically, move into the sign of Aquarius. And that is a big energetic event. And I think it's super significant that it's happening coincidentally together with this new moon energy. And it means that Pluto in this chart is sextiling this lunation. So it's working harmoniously together with this lunation. This is a grand momentum of new beginnings. In my previous videos, I was talking about the end of an era, right? Specifically related to Saturn and Saturn moving into Pisces, and then just the last two lunations before this one had that vibe of the end of an era. This lunation is the beginning of a whole new world. Okay, that was dramatic, but maybe that's a bit of an Aries thing as well. So, no, but truly, this is a huge beginning because Pluto is going to stay in Aquarius until 2044. That's a long period. And we've all been talking about this because of that Aquarian age topic, you know, where it is said that society and the collective consciousness is moving into a new energetic frequency, and we're moving away from the Piscean age into the Aquarius age. And in 2020, astrologers are saying that it started with Saturn and Jupiter, you know, the gateway planets, together ingressing, moving into Aquarius 0 degrees together at the end of 2020. That was very significant. That truly was, it was like passing of the baton, you know? I don't know if it's an English word, estafette. I guess it's French or something. But you know that game where you run and you have a baton, so you have like a stick in your hand and you pass it on to the next runner and they run with it. And you know, Saturn and Jupiter were the first runners, and now they're passing the baton, the stick, to Pluto. And yeah, if we're ever going to talk about the Aquarius age, this is it. This is it. When Pluto enters Aquarius, that's the Aquarius age, because nothing else, nothing that impactful, no other impactful planet is going to move into Aquarius soon. So it's Pluto. And it's going to change the world. And obviously I have a separate video that will come out on the Pluto Aquarius energies. But it is so important that that happens around this lunation, and that it is sextiling this lunation. So this lunation is at 0 degrees of Aries, and in 2 days, Pluto is going to be at 0 degrees of Aquarius, 2 zeros. That is fresh beginnings, new. And that happening around the Spring Equinox, the new astrological year. Traditionally, esoterically, a very important date. Yeah, big things are on the horizon. Big, new things. So where do you want to steer your life towards? What do you want to see in this world? What do you want to see in yourself and in your own life? Where are you headed to? Where are you, where's your direction? What do you really want? What's good for you that could help a lot of people? How can you be yourself, your individual, independent, cool, passionate being? And how can that support the authenticity of a collective? How can that transform humanity in a good way? That's the lunation sextiling Pluto energy. But I guess we should mention that technically at this new moon, Pluto is at 29 degrees and 58 minutes. which is near the end, very end of Capricorn. So we might see also simultaneously some big collapses ushering in the new. And as I said, this is traditionally a 6-month period. Every new moon is the birth of at least a 6-month period. But since this is a new astrological year, this is a birth of at least 12-month period. And guess what? If this is linked to Pluto in Aquarius, this is the birth of 21 years till 2044. You can see that your wishes and your intentions and your manifestation skills around this new moon is very important, very strong, and will last minimum 6 months, but realistically 12 months, and potentially 21 years. That's an extreme long time. So I have to mention that. Then the last thing, and this is really interesting, is that this lunation, of course, is the beginning of everything, right? Clearly. But it's also the beginning of the first lunation where Pluto is squaring the nodes of fate. The nodes represent our destiny and our purpose in life, and that we can see in the North Node. It's our navigation tool. The North Node is where we ought to work towards. That's our north, our absolute north. And then we have the South Node, and that is something that we have really known well, and we can use the skills that we've gained from that energy, but it's not the true north. So we kind of need to move away from it and be wary of the pitfalls, and then drag ourselves to the other side, to the opposite side. That's the north-south node axis and importance, very important in your natal birth chart, but also collectively. We're all connected. So the North Node shows our collective consciousness and how we need to move ahead together. So currently it's at, the North Node is in Taurus. So since 1.5 years or so, the universe wanted us to move towards the Taurian themes, and that is values, having our values in line. It's Venus ruled, so it's about love and relationships, about money, but the worth of things, what's valuable, what's truly important, what matters, what's close to your heart, what gives you pleasure, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel safe. And it's about nature, being close to nature, food, agriculture. Those topics are very highlighted currently. And the North Node is saying, explore it, learn it about these topics, find these energies within yourself, heighten these energies, develop these energies. So feel more pleasure within, feel what feels good for you, create more safety in your life, create more independence in your life, be more close to nature, says the North Node. And the South Node represents, well, manipulations, control, abuse, toxicity, trauma, fears, psychological patterns, subconscious programming. It's very smart. It's very deep. It's very intense energy. That was the world for a very long time. It still is the world. But maybe it's the part of the world that we need to let go, remove, destroy, say goodbye to, face the fears, face the dark, face the patterns, break them, transform them, alchemize the energy, empower yourself, empower others, and connect, because the Scorpio energy wants to merge and connect with people intimately. So, you know, there are things that we can really use well with the Scorpionic energy. The focus, the determination, the intelligence, the intuitive understanding, the understanding of truth, the ability to let go, to detox, to remove, to change, to transform. These are huge tools, amazing tools that Scorpio can give us. And we need all of that on this path. But we need to move away from the extreme, dark expression of Scorpio. The abuse, the manipulation, the control. And the extreme attachment to things, you know. So why am I speaking of this? Because the nodes, as I said, and Pluto are squaring off. And it starts with this lunation. And it only gets intense when it gets more intense when Pluto enters Aquarius. So it's already squaring because it's 5-6 degrees of an orb. And then when Pluto enters Aquarius, it's going to be tighter and tighter. And this is an ongoing square. Pluto is going to square off the nodes for many months and many lunations. So this is really significant, really important. So we are going to be transformed and changed. And Pluto is very dramatic. It's going to be big. Pluto does it big. There's no small change with Pluto. It's also permanent change. So there's no way of going back once the Pluto energy gets over it. So that's why it is associated with death and, you know, endings. But of course, the whole purpose of that is to birth something much stronger and new. So this is they're squaring off means it's making a T-square. And the T-square is pointing to Pluto. What is really interesting is last year, I guess 2022, is when Saturn was squaring off with the nodes. So the nodes have had pretty intense time. First, they had pressure of Saturn, like, take things serious. I want you to build strong foundations. I want you to do goal setting and strategize and be serious and be mature about your goals in life. I want you to go this way. And if you don't, I'm going to restrict you. I'm going to delay things. I'm going to make it really tough for you, is what Saturn said last year. And now Pluto comes into the square, T-square with the nodes. That's more difficult. That's an extreme pressure. But thank God that Saturn did it, maybe. So now we're stronger, right? Saturn has really cleared some of the dirt and like got us into the right, direction. And we started to build something. We started to build something really serious and towards the North Node, maturely, so responsibly, with discipline last year. And now Pluto is coming in and saying, I'm going to clear all the bullshit. We're going to get to the bone of this, to the truth. And that's going to hurt, maybe. The reason why it sounds slightly negative, although I don't feel that it is because it's a T-square. So you have an opposition and then you have squares move. So but the T-square wants your attention. So Pluto is like, focus on me, bitch. Like, it's like, eyes on me. Take this very seriously, says Pluto. Now you're going to listen to me and you're going to do as I say. And as many astrologers say, you cannot negotiate with Pluto. This is not, I'll do it this way, I promise. No. If Saturn is serious, Pluto is deadly serious. Yeah. So this is an intense time. And it's going, yeah, it's that, it's super intense. March is a very interesting month because 2 planets are ingressing into new signs, Saturn and Pluto. They're both considered maleficent energies, slightly negative. They're both doing it in March, and they're both doing it during a lunation. Saturn entered Pisces March 7th during the full moon in Virgo, like literally during the full moon in Virgo, not even an hour after the literal full moon. And then now we have Pluto going into Aquarius during this new moon, only 2 days within this new moon, meaning it's the new moon phase. That's really amazing. So March is super important. Clearly, 2 planets moving into, like 2 big energetic planets moving into new signs during 2 lunations who also happen to be in March. So March is extreme. It's very different. It's unique. It's going to shake everything up. And then the coming few months are intense for other reasons. And as I said, this T-square with Pluto is ongoing. So that gives you a bit of an insight that this is not over. This is only the beginning. It's very intense. It's very serious. It's very deep. This is highly transformative energy. But with Pluto, as I said, you need to be careful because it's permanent change. So you better know what you're doing. And I guess know what you're doing really, really, really is important. That's probably maybe why it's sextiling this lunation. Because normally Aries is a very risk-taking, daredevil kind of energy, and that's great. But if the change is permanent and no going back, What if you make a mistake? And I think that's maybe why Neptune is squaring with Mars. Be careful to not make a mistake. Because if you do, you might not be able to go back to it. What does this mean? Just be really sure of what you're doing. Don't go on a, spring of the moment idea. Have a little bit of you're more intelligent than that. Come on, right? So, okay, you have that instinctual desire. Great. Okay, now let's sit with it. Let's sleep on it. Let's sit with it. Let's meditate on it. Let's pray for it. Let's feel it. What's my intuition saying? Is this good for everyone? What are the possible, risks, or, how can I manage the risk maybe? Or, is it too risky? Then, I don't know. Or is it I could handle these, whatever, problems or challenges? So it's a little bit of maybe you need to make a little bit of an assessment, Something Aries doesn't like per se, but since Pluto is involved here, you want to do that. You do. You want to tread a little bit more carefully. But that's not all about this T-square between the nodes and Pluto. Oh no, there's more. And here it gets really, really, really interesting. So as I said, the North Node is in Taurus, right? It's at 5 degrees and 45 minutes of Taurus. The ruler of Taurus is Venus, planet Venus. Planet Venus is right on top of the North Node in this T-square, pointing to Pluto. That's wild. So the ruler of the North Node is with the North Node during this new moon in the new astrological year, on the new astrological year date. This is the new year. That is so profound. So Venus is saying, I'm going to give a little bit of a backup to the North Node in Taurus. Maybe you didn't know how serious it was to think about what feels good and, what is pleasure and what matters, what's valuable. And Venus is I'm going to back this up because I think people didn't take this. Maybe it's slightly too light. I'm going to be here representing my own energy, my child, the Taurus. Going to protect it a little bit. Going to make sure that everybody sticks to the North Node in Taurus. This is really important to know what you love, to stay close to what you love, to feel safe, to feel valuable, to connect, to relate with others, to be truly on the path that what matters most to you. And what matters most is love. Simple as love. That's Venus. And you know what? It makes it even more interesting. Wow, astrology, you're amazing. Any guesses? Any guesses if you're into astrology? What other energy rules relationships and love next to Taurus and Venus? Juno, asteroid Juno, is right there as well. So this is like a triple conjunction of love and relationships and connectedness and commitment. So Juno, Venus, and the North Node are all at 5 degrees of Taurus. Juno is right on the North Node, and like Venus is so close to it. They're all together. And to put some extra to it, Pluto, remember in the T-square, is met with Eros, asteroid Eros. And Eros represents our passion, our lust, our, our desire to be together and make love, I guess. That's maybe Eros as well. So there's something about that here. There's truly great passion going on during this lunation. And this T-square is making sure we take these subjects and these energies, take them to heart. Like, this is really important. This is intuition is your navigation tool, period. From now on, without a heightened intuition, you're lost in this world. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is following your heart. And of course, they're all connected usually. But with intuition, you need discernment. You need to know, what's yours, what's not. And I think that really helps to follow your heart, because now you know who you are, you know your guides and whatever. You've tested your intuition, so you really know, like, okay, I can trust this. So following your heart is really easy from that on. Following your heart is really, really important. Says this T-square. And it's good to bring more passion into your life. And it's really important to look at how you connect with people, how your relationships are, how your commitment works. And that it's really important to have that in your life. But because this is a T-square, this is uncomfortable, this is pushy, this is challenging, this is confrontational, uneasy. This is not per se nice feeling. However, I consider a T-square to be, as I said, it brings our attention to it. It's just making sure we understand this and deal with it. So that's part one of a T-square. Part two is the great potential for manifestation. So because there is an urge, like a push, focus on this. This needs your attention, says the T-square. And all that tension and focus makes you able to actually create it, right? Because that's all you need, attention, focus, that's creation. So, it's challenging, but eventually this is actually where relationships are built with. This is where, love is built, And it sounds so woo-woo, but it's just so, if you can understand it energetically, it is like really important energy. And it's not easy. Love is not easy. okay? Love is healing. I mean, you need to heal first to be able to express it in its true form. Cliche, yeah, but you can love as much as you can love yourself. So, okay? Venus represents that too. It's self-love as well. Self-esteem as well. Aries helps with this. Aries is all about that. By the way, if you hear some snoring, it's my cat, just so you know. But I guess he agrees. He's like, yeah, humans, get your shit together, okay? Bring more love into this world. Seriously though, animals know it better than us. I think they are like these little angels in this world, reminding us how important it is to love unconditionally. And I really feel that, you know, animals represent the unconditional love of the divine. They are reminders to us how it works. So we can really learn from them, by the way. He's not snoring, so he's listening. He agrees. Okay. So anyway, no, but this is really important. There is a huge, again, attention to passion, drive, to what's valuable, what matters, what feels good, what is safe, what is sustainable, and the importance of Mother Earth, the importance of your food and of independent agriculture. So, I think that's about it. So there's a lot going on, as I said. And of course, Saturn is now at 1 degree of Pisces. This is a very potent, manifesting lunation situation. It really is a very interesting one because it has so much potential, you know? So it's up to us to really steer this thing in the right direction. So I think the nice thing about this is it's Aries. It's an Aries new moon. So this is more about you than anyone else right at this moment. This is where you need to hone in on your self-identity. Claim it. Claim who you are. Fight for who you are. Fight for what you believe in. And create the reality you want to see. And this lunation is going to give you the fire, the energy, the motivation to actually accomplish this, to go against the odds and win. So happy lunation situation in Aries, new moon, the new astrological year, and happy spring equinox or autumn equinox if you're at the Southern Hemisphere. So you get 10 new moon wishes. Use them very well. And I would suggest that this is an excellent moment to do some manifestation rituals. There are so many. So you pick whatever works for you. To really get your intentions straight on what you want to start and begin and invite into your life. Happy new moon in Aries. Bye.